I was going to jump back to you again with this next question anyway, Buga, because I know it's been on your mind. With Dani Olmo joining, he does have a very similar profile to some of our other players, like we've mentioned. In particular, a Fermin Lopez, who's on fire right now. What's in your mind when you compare those two players? Who's ahead in the depth chart when we look at Dani Olmo and Fermin?
Dude, like, we have to talk about Dani Olmo versus... Okay. He has, 15 goals in 2024? 15 goals, mind you. Bellingham has 6. I'm just saying. Who's better? I'm just saying.
Who's
Who's
the
more on
season with
form?
some shade?
Who's more on form? Fermin Lopez over Bellingham. I'll take that. The thing is that Dani Olmo, he still hasn't proven to be sort of anything for Barcelona at the moment. He came from an incredible Euros, let's be honest. He was one of the players. Like, if Rodri didn't win MVP, if Ling didn't win MVP, for me, Dani Olmo is the guy to come in that list. I just do not know. I think based on merit, actually, Fermin Lopez should deserve to be starting over Dani Olmo. The thing is that you can only say that Hansi Flick still hasn't gotten to train with him. So I think that the time that he has gotten with Dani Olmo at the moment is probably going to push him further up on the pecking order. Not only that, but taking into account the sort of the money that was spent on him and all of that. And I would also say that Fermin Lopez off the bench, no matter where he plays, he's still an impact player. Like, he can be off the bench, he can start the game. I will vouch for him to have an impact no matter what. So I think that Fermin Lopez, either way, will be an important player. But I think that Dani Olmo right now is further on the pecking order. But what do you think then about? Do you think we should have spent that money on him? Because there's so many people, like already creating a campaign against Olmo just because of that. And I do not know. I don't know. I think Dani Olmo is still a little bit different of a player to Fermin Lopez, even though they're very similar. Dani Olmo can still play a little bit wider, perhaps. And I think he's just a player who's like ready for that next jump. I was just looking at him at Leipzig. He's been there, 4 years already. He had an incredible Euros. I think Barcelona is sort of, once again, like it or not, I think in football sometimes things are way more simple. They're sort of written already. He was sort of ready for that next step. And I think that Barcelona and Manchester City were the only two clubs that could give him that sort of platform. So, I don't know. I'm not angry for Dani Olmo coming in. I think that maybe he's a player that in 1-2 years we would see as a sort of good impact player. And I like that. I think that hopefully it's going to be a good,
Yeah. I am admittedly not super familiar with Dani Olmo. I don't watch a lot of Bundesliga, so I've really only seen him in the Champions League, in those performances, and the Euros this past summer. So, exciting player, attacking midfielder, can play a little bit from the left there, but he's not a winger by any means, right? So, I think Hansi Flick is looking at his midfield lineup and saying there's a lot of players that are injury prone. I don't want to have to rely on bringing up Barca athletic players mid-season. Let me make sure that if a Pedri, if a Gavi goes down, I've got somebody of equal playing level, of equal impact that can come in. So I think it's more of an insurance policy than anything else. I'm very, very interested and curious to see what the go-to starting 11 becomes by the time we get to mid-season, because form is going to matter, fixture list is going to matter, but there could be heavy rotation, particularly in that attacking midfield row of our lineup there.
Yeah.
So we got Pablo back, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead, Pablo.
It's a hot summer, and my phone has decided that it was too hot and turned off. So let's hope we make it to the end. It's good that we spoke a little bit about Dani Olmo, obviously, because he could end up being the big signing of the summer for Barca. It's a lot of money. I think all the question marks are looking at that Barca team. We've just said it. That's not the position that needs improving. I think he instantly becomes Barca's starter at the number 10 position, though. I think he does, and I think he will be under Hansi Flick. I want to say that straight up, and I think that's the intention with the signing. I think it's a Hansi Flick signing written all over it. I'm a big fan of Olmo. I hear that there's other priorities. CDM, I believe, is a priority. Left wing, I believe, is more of a priority than number 10, maybe even goalkeeper, right? But Is he a great player? For me, yeah. I'm a big fan of Dani Olmo. I think he's ready for the next jump. I think he can actually become a really impactful player for Barcelona. I think he's got a lot of goals in him. We just need to get them out of him. He's a great striker from the edge of the box. Brilliant in between the lines. Him at the Euros for Spain was a really good example of what a good player he is in that sort of system. So am I excited? Yeah, I really like Dani Olmo individually as a player. Do I absolutely hear concerns of was it a priority? Yes.